are you affording this life? Do you speak Spanish? Like, how are you handling like drinkable water, potable water? Who does that?
Alligators are really pets down here.
You found your house super quickly. Did your daughter want to come to Merida? Hello. All right, so today we are doing our very first YouTube interview with the amazing Heather.
Hi.
And Heather also has a YouTube channel. We'll be posting that in the description below. She is very new to Merida. How long have you been here?
About 3 weeks now.
And so I've had a lot of you guys asking me questions about what it is or what it feels like to move to Merida recently. And because I've been here a year, a little more than a year, and I came here pre-COVID, lots of things have possibly changed. So Heather is going to answer some questions about your move, how you got here and all of that kind of stuff. And then I also have some questions that my audience has that I think maybe you can answer better than I can. So we'll start with the basics, which is marital status.
Officially, I am single. I have been divorced since 2011.
And I'm asking this because my audience is single, right? And we're wondering how we can travel. So do you have sole legal physical?
I have joint
Okay.
legal custody. However, I have sole residential custody.
So I've got sole physical legal, but it's always a concern when you leave the country because some countries have different rules of what they want. So I was lucky enough to get my ex to sign paperwork that says Alex is allowed to come to Mexico, although nobody in Mexico has asked for that paperwork. But I have the paperwork if somebody asks. And then you came with 2 pets?
I came with 2 pets, 1 dog and 1 cat. As of right now, you do not need paperwork. The certificate of health that was previously required. All you need is to show that they've been to the vet recently and they are up to date on their rabies shots.
Yep, and I think I had to fill out the same documents when I came actually, so very easy. And yours are small enough, they said they were in the cabin with you.
Yes, they were both in the cabin.
Awesome, because I think, the difficulty is if you've got a large dog and the dog has to sit in cargo.
Yes.
That's where it gets difficult. You found your house super quickly.
Yes, I did.
How did you find your house so quickly?
It was a mixture of talking to people on Facebook Marketplace, talking to random realtors here in Mexico or Merida, just replying to anyone's posts on Facebook groups that were for rent in this area.
How did you weed out, because we've got a lot of salespeople here that I don't know if I would trust them. How did you weed out,
I think first I would check to see if that person was a realtor, and if they were, I would check out their Facebook page, see if they had any current posts, if they had any reviews, if they had a website. Those were a few things that I checked out to make sure that I knew they were pretty legit. Before I met them, we would talk on WhatsApp, and if I said I was looking for a house with this criteria, and they were giving me things outside of my budget or giving me things that did not apply to me, I kind of exit them out because that means they weren't really listening.
So what kind of house did you get?
2-bedroom, 3-bathroom townhouse, northern Merida. It's a good location. It's very simple. It has a London theme, which my daughter really loved.
And I'm assuming you're gonna make a video for us to see soon.
Yes, I was just cleaning my house today. I was like, I need to clean up so I can make a video, but yes, that will be coming soon.
Awesome, so we're gonna look forward to that. Do you have a pool?
I do not have a pool. However, there was a pool in the backyard, but the previous owners of the house, they jimmy rigged it to where they had an alligator back there. And yes, I know, an alligator, and I was confused too because alligators are really pets down here. So it's not really a pool anymore. You could probably put water in it and it'll be like
I bet you could convert it to a pool.
Yeah, you probably could. Just reconfigure everything that they did, but it's still nice little backyard, have nice garage, and it's really, really nice.
How much do you pay for your rent?
$730 US.
That's a really good price.
Yes, and that includes the internet, the water, the trash service as well.
Nice. And speaking of water, do you have somebody delivering water to your house? Like, how are you handling drinkable water, potable water?
So far, my first day, we went to Sam's Club and I purchased maybe 8 jugs of the bottled water, like the huge bottled waters. Yes, so I've been using that, but as soon as you run out of that, my next door neighbor gets the Crystal brand water delivery service, and I will be using that.
My landlady's amazing because she gets all my water for me. So I give her the empty jugs, and then she makes sure to listen out because the way they order water here, and it might be different for your area, but literally the guys come driving around with these big old trucks that have water, and they're like, agua, agua.
Oh, so maybe that's what they're yelling, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, like when you hear somebody yelling, they're selling something, or there are people who come around to pick up your donations. So lots of things happening when people yell.
That's really good to know. I didn't know that. I hear the trucks all the time, and I hear them yelling. I think it's oh, it's just them just doing their job and not
Yeah.
saying, hey, come
No,
out and buy some water from
They're
us.
talking to whoever is
Yeah.
nearby. I had a guy yesterday selling hammocks. Do you speak Spanish?
I do not speak a lot of Spanish. I speak the bare minimum, very poquito.
And has that hindered you? Has it been okay? How has Merida been with the language?
It hasn't been too bad. I have been using Google Translate apps, and what I have found that works for me is if I'm trying to ask a question to a local and I don't know how to phrase it, I will type it in the app.
Yes.
I will try to say the words to them in my best American accent, and then if they look at me and they are kind of confused, I point to my phone,
Flip it over.
and I try to say it again, and then they say it aloud, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I say the word, and then they answer. So that has been the best way, because there are some words that I cannot pronounce the correct way, and they may sound like other words and with other meanings. So
Yes.
that is what has been working best for me.
Very accommodating people that I've found so far, because yeah, my Google Translate reading skills, not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
I totally relate.
What has been the worst part of Merida so far? Like culture shock or anything that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happens?
I wouldn't say a culture shock. I have not found more affordable stores. There are some stores that are not like a Walmart, but maybe like a Ollie's or a warehouse type stores. But I haven't really found a lot of other stores where more locals shop at. But I'm pretty sure they're out there. I think they're just hidden gems, or just they're in places that we probably would not search for.
And that's something when we went on, because we went on the tour together with Lucia, the Lucas de Galvez market is definitely for locals. And then near that area, there seem to be a lot, I haven't gone to them yet, so I can't say for sure, but that's the region if you want to have, I guess, more affordable products.
Yeah.
It's certainly not expensive here, but definitely the malls, you're gonna be paying import prices for sure.
Definitely.
And that will add up. Although I do appreciate the convenience sometimes.
Yes, I totally
Yes.
agree.
But what's the favorite part so far? Aside
So-
from meeting me, because obviously.
The welcoming feeling that I received when we arrived. We stayed at a bed and breakfast in Centro, and the housekeeper there was Mayan. She did speak some Spanish, but it was more than Mayan Spanish. And she was so welcoming. She cooked us breakfast. She made sure we were okay. And just the hospitality, and even with our animals, they're allowed to roam free. That's what I liked. And the second event that happened, we were out ice skating with one of the other moms, and I was with the 4-year-old, and she had a kind of like a walker, an assistant
to help
walker.
you.
Yes, but it was a little bit too high, so just two random people that were ice skating stopped me and said, hey, let me help you, and they were trying to adjust it, and they tried for a few minutes, they couldn't do it, so then they left, went back and got another walker and exchanged it.
Wow.
So that was really nice. That's the type of hospitality and kindness you really don't get in the United States. Not saying it doesn't exist, but it's not as freely and consistent.
So what other countries have you been in?
Japan for a month. And we backpacked through Asia for 3 months. So we did Japan, South Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia. We did Germany for a few hours.
That had to be awesome.
Yes, and then we came back, and then we did 3 weeks in Europe, visited England, France, and then of course 2020 happened, which altered our plans, but we ended up going to Playa del Carmen for a month back in September 2020,
I remember.
and here we are here in Merida in January 2021.
So you've done so much more. Like I've traveled a lot with the military, and then I've traveled, you know, my mom was Japanese, so we've been to Japan and certain locations, but I like the places you've been to. Did you ever feel unsafe traveling? Because you traveled with your daughter to all those locations.
Yes.
Is there a country that you felt unsafe in? Or maybe not a country, maybe a city or a particular location?
There has not been a location that we have not felt safe in, and especially as a single parent and as a woman. I think it's important that you talk to your kids about certain situations that could come up. In Thailand, they'll ask, where are you going, or where's your husband, or something along those lines. And I don't wear a ring because I'm not married or anything, but you can easily reply, my husband's coming, he's at the hotel, my boyfriend's at the hotel. So just certain things like that, we always have a response for.
I tried to teach Alex to speak in plural always, and to kind of imply that there was more than just the two of us when we were doing RV life. Because people ask some really personal questions that you just don't know if you should be answering. You're like,
exactly.
Like, I don't know you yet. And it might be an innocent question. I think a lot of people have curiosity when they see somebody traveling. So might be perfectly innocent, but a little part of you is like, maybe, just in case.
As an adult, I did not travel out of the country until my first appointment, which was, I believe, Portugal. I think that was our first port visit in the Navy. So I never traveled, and I used to think that if you had a lot of money, you could travel, but as a middle-class person, I didn't think it was possible at all.
Until you looked at the numbers and you're like,
Until you looked at the numbers, and it's definitely affordable.
Yes, and it's funny that you say Portugal, because that's where you want to go next, yes?
Yes, that's where we are headed after this area.
So do you think you fell in love because of the visit, or is it information you found out afterwards that made you kind of like love it?
I think Europe as a whole is very interesting. There is a lot to do, a lot to see. The access to Europe itself and many Asian countries are easily accessible from Europe versus the United States. It can get very expensive. The flight, I think, from New York to Japan is about 13 hours. So that's one of the reasons why. And also the cost of living is lower in Portugal.
Yeah.
There are places in Europe that are really
much
expensive.
more expensive. Yes.
But the cost of living and the benefits of becoming a resident are the same as becoming a citizen. So it made sense.
I have no location that I consider to be like where I'm going to stay forever. I plan until I'm physically unable to travel. I like the idea of going to Costa Rica or going to Guatemala, like, you know, the other places.
Being able to slow
in this
travel
region,
around and experience everything instead of doing weekend vacations like many people do because of the 9 to 5. They don't have the option to slow travel and experience the culture, experience the people, and it's normally just like the tourist spots like Tulum and Cancun are hot spots right now because Mexico's open and it's just an easy flight and you can spend the weekend there. But I agree, I prefer the slow travel. I prefer waking up and saying, hey, I don't have to go to a tour, I don't have to do anything, we don't have to rush. If we don't want to do anything for the next 2 weeks, that's okay. Versus, oh, we got a tour, we got to do this, oh, our flight is in 3 days, what else do you want to do?
The fear of missing out on something, so
so I definitely agree with that.
How are you affording this life?
First and foremost, the military, my VA. I am medically retired from the military, so I do get my benefits. Also receive Social Security and child support.
I love it. And same thing, my number one is definitely my Navy retirement. That is what covers the basis of everything. And then I've got other side gigs that's giving me a little bit more income, but definitely not the bulk of it. The bulk is coming from my Navy retirement. How are you schooling MK while you travel? What's your method?
I like to focus on unschooling. I honestly don't believe in a set curriculum. Once my kid's older, when she was younger, like, yes, she needs to know her math, her English, how to read, how to write.
That foundational to then be able to educate themselves.
Yes, but now that she's older, I kind of let her do her own thing. I know that she's into doing designing, graphic design. So she does that. She spends a lot of time making things, researching, and I'm okay with that.
Same.
We're with Power Homeschool, but it's through Acelia. So she does have math and English and maybe government, I don't know.
A couple of classes.
A couple classes. I just don't hound on her. I don't tell her, you have to wake up at 9, you have to have this schedule. As long as my daughter is showing interest and is being productive and being positive, I can fully support that. But unschooling is not for everyone, and I just definitely want to say that I'm not side-eyeing anyone that has a curriculum. It just whatever works best for us, and not everything works best for everyone. So definitely find what works best for you.
Each state in the U.S. has such different rules that sometimes it's much more difficult to officially unschool. And I think from a parent viewpoint, it's hard to wrap your head around it sometimes. So kind of like you're saying, you have Acella's helping a little bit with certain subjects. Same. I give Alex a list of things to do. He can define or he can specify what it means. So he has to do math every day. I have workbooks that he can do. He never does. He never
Kids
does.
don't.
But he could do them. But he prefers an actual math program that is not coming to me, but I'll say it at the bottom later. So he does a game. Essentially, it's a math game that he plays that he enjoys much more. I will say, every once in a while, I ask him a question. Like a puzzle question or a quiz type, or just give him a math question and see what he does. And so long as I see that he knows how to figure out that answer, then I feel more like, okay,
you're not failing. Your kid's not behind.
Exactly. So, and I do the same. He's got to read a chapter. He chooses the book. He just has to read. So I try to keep it pretty open-ended. Otherwise, he would literally be on his phone 24/7. Like, I guarantee if I didn't give him a list, he would be.
I think it's good that you give your kids options.
Do you have any fave restaurants so far?
Yes, I do. Okay, I love food. It makes me so happy. Okay. So we went to a Cuban spot a few days ago. Mio y Tuyo, Merida. It's a house.
Yes.
It's someone's house. And they converted the front half, like the patio, into a restaurant.
Yes.
And it was so much food for 100 pesos. You had three meats, a huge portion of rice, plantains, and a salad for 100 pesos. So it was about $5.
$5. Yeah, that's perfect.
So much food. So that would be my favorite place. I was just telling one of the moms I need to go back there today.
Yeah.
And then my second place would be Los Trompos.
Yep.
But we've been getting the huge family meal deal, which is 4 different meats, the tortillas, some sides, and it's about less than $15, so maybe $13 for this big pizza box.
Yes.
Worth of food. And that has been my favorite place. However, my favorite breakfast is the chilaquiles. Definitely, hands down, my favorite breakfast food here.
Have you had so far power or internet issues?
I have not had power issues. We did have internet issues. It was just for a few hours, and I talked to my landlord, and he said, hey, it's just out, and it'll come back on. And it came back on. The internet has been reliable. It's been fast enough for me to upload videos and do my schoolwork.
Yeah.
I have no complaints. And it all depends on your neighborhood and what
It
street you
does.
live on.
And the only thing I have trouble with is Zoom calls.
Yes, you were telling me.
I will get kicked out of Zoom calls all the time. Not all the time. I'm exaggerating, but it feels like all the time. Yeah, I have to go to a restaurant that has stronger internet if I want to guarantee that I stay in with that Zoom. But other than that, I can stream, I can watch Netflix, I can do all the things. No problems. But during hurricane season is probably when I noticed the biggest issue, not necessarily with myself, but with, my friends. Somebody would lose power, somebody would lose the internet.
It's like the whole block goes out when it happens.
Yes. So there is some instability, but it's not like you can definitely overcome it. Like, there's so many ways. Let's talk about the weather. So you came in January, which is the best time. This is high season. It's the coldest it's ever gonna get. Today it just changed.
Yes. It's a little hot, but when I first got here, I was like, oh my goodness, it's chilly here. I didn't bring any long sleeve and jackets or anything, and especially at nighttime, the temperature dropped so much. Now
Today, and it only hit 90, and I say only because it's gonna hit 110, it's gonna hit 120 in the summer. So comparatively, it's still cool, and we're lucky right now. At night, it's still cool, so that's good, but
yes, we were out last night and it was a nice temperature.
Yeah, but it's getting hot now. And you did not visit Merida first before you decided to move here.
No, I feel like I virtually visited this area. So many moms were talking about it. So many
YouTube
Facebook
channels
blogs,
and Facebook,
everything.
Did your daughter want to come to Merida?
She wanted to come to Mexico in general. She loved it when we were here last time in Playa del Carmen. As far as the area, she wasn't really sure because it was somewhere new, but Mackenzie is really good at adapting to new places and new environments. So far, it's been a good adaptation for her, or both of us.
People always ask about that. How do I, maybe the mom wants to go, but how do I get my kids to want to go? And, it's hard. I'll just be honest, if your kid doesn't want to go, it's like on the one hand, they don't know that they don't want to go because they've never experienced it. And on the other hand, maybe you don't know either because you've never been to Merida, so you're like, we're testing new things. But I'm a fan, of course, obviously, of traveling. So I do think we should listen to our kids, but we should also give them experiences so that they have something to base maybe their gut instincts on. But
yes, and they could say they tried it, and it could be an adventure, or what also worked for us when we were looking at other countries is go on the Google, look up fun things to do, or find what interests your child, and look up. Like, we just went to a skateboard shop. My daughter wants to skateboard down here, so we went and we talked to the guy, and just little things like that my daughter looks forward to because she loves to skateboard. But if I said no, we're not going to look up skateboards, or we're not going to look up this, then it kind of loses interest. And overall, the mental state of your child is also important when you travel, especially when you don't have family close by, or they don't have their friends close by. So definitely talking with your child and just Googling or just watching some YouTube videos together are really helpful.
And what helped Alex is he loves to have friends. So in RV life, we would meet somebody at one location and then leave. So when he realized that we had a really large expat community here, then he was okay with it. He was like, okay, let's give it a try. I love friends. So.
And the community is huge. The We were at a park meetup and there were so many kids there, so many families. And I've always heard about the community here, and that's one of the reasons why I chose here.
Yeah.
And every expectation I had has lived up to it so far. So
Yes.
definitely highly recommend this place, 5 stars.
Yeah, I think it's a great, even if you don't know if you want to stay here forever, I think it's a great sounding board to see how your kids deal with travel or, you know, a little bit of culture shock. Again, I'm not fluent in Spanish, and yet we make it work. So these are questions from my audience, and I'm shaking everything.
Oh, okay.
Right? Have you noticed a lot of bugs in Merida?
Yeah, yes and no. The one day I was looking for an apartment, a grasshopper attacked me. It was a locust.
Yeah. They look the same, but yeah.
Yes, and then that same week we had a park meetup, and it started with like 2 or 3 locusts in the air, turned to about 100, then 100 trillion. They were swarming everywhere. Some were falling out of the sky randomly, but outside of that, nothing out of the norm. Besides ants and wolf spiders and
Yeah.
nothing too crazy.
Awesome.
But the locusts were crazy.
The locusts were crazy, but they only stayed here a week, maybe, not very long before they disappeared. Have you or your daughter gotten sick here yet?
I wouldn't say we've gotten sick. My daughter has had an upset stomach since we've been here, but I don't think it's from drinking water since we have bottled water. I just think it's just the different types of food and getting accustomed to different spices and the different ingredients. But I've been great. I've been eating nonstop. And there's a lot of vegan food options too here.
There are.
And that's what I love to. I'm not vegan, but it does give me the opportunity to say, hey, let me order something vegan off the menu. And that's really interesting because definitely health is very important, and especially with this heat, I feel like putting more nutrients and greens into your body is
vital.
way better than that McDonald's or the KFC
Yes.
or just something full of fatty acids and fake meat.
Exactly. And I will say most restaurants, even if they don't have vegetarian on their menu, you just ask
for it.
You just ask, and sometimes, honestly, it's a yummier option. I don't know how else to say it, but yeah, certain foods, I feel like they overcompensate with the veggies. They're like, oh, this poor girl can't eat meat. We're just gonna give her lots of veggies, and I'm like, ooh.
Like the burritos from the park.
Yes,
that
like
was really good.
So yes, sometimes it's better to pretend to be vegetarian. I'm cool with it. So I've been here over a year, and my address is wonky, and so I can't get things delivered to my house easily. Even when I get like Uber Eats, I have to poke my head out the window and like let
Wave
them know.
down.
Yes, because that's how wonky my address is. But what did you do to get a package?
Yes.
Because
So my address is the same. It's weird. So I went on Amazon Mexico. So you download the app, the regular Amazon app. You just change the location to Mexico. Where you would insert your address or location, you could just type in the zip code. It will come up with different options. They have an Amazon locker. They have several DHL locations. Even the OXXO, which is like a corner store.
yes,
You can pick
some
up
of those have it. Yeah.
packages there too, and that's what I did. I actually picked the one that was at a mall closest to me. I showed up at the mall. I asked the security guard that squirting the hand sanitizer. I just showed him the picture. I say Amazon, and he was like right there, which is right next to the security booth.
Yep.
And I went there. Nothing was in English. I just looked at the email Amazon sent me in Spanish, and there were numbers there. So I said, let me just type in these numbers. I typed in the numbers. A box randomly opened up, and I went in there, grabbed my package. Looked just like an Amazon package from the States. Amazon tape, Amazon logo. I closed the locker back, and that was it. And I went on my way. So it's definitely very convenient.
This is why you follow more than one person on YouTube for a particular area, because we all have very different experiences. So I'm watching her channel going, oh, maybe I should open up my Amazon account again, because I haven't looked at Amazon for over a year.
Really?
Because
I'm like, you've been on the go.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna bother with it. So again, this is Heather. Where can we meet you? Where is your favorite social media location for us to like hang out with you if we wanted to?
Instagram would definitely be the best way. I'm not too active on the Facebook.
Got it. And then what's your handle on Instagram?
My handle is Heathers_amazing_journey.
I love it.
Well, thank you.
Yes, that's perfect. And then of course, she has a YouTube channel, Unconventional Travels, that you should definitely be subscribed to if you are not already. But of course, you are, because why would you not be?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can catch up with her there. And I don't know if you've got Clubhouse, but it's something that
Yes.
it's pretty new. We're testing it out. Every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, I open a room to talk about all things Merida. That way, if you've got just random questions you can ask, you have a room that you open up every
Saturday at 8.
Saturday at 8.
It's pretty much traveling, just anything travel related, unconventional travels. This week we are going to be talking about fears while traveling, or any travel fears.
Yeah, so you guys should all join.
Yeah.
So
your room.
So
because it's interesting. We had a lot of people yesterday,
Yes.
and we learned a lot of information, especially about the maids and hiring people, or the nannies.
And if you
and-
fire someone, some of the rules. So yeah, just so much to learn from that. Like, again, sometimes people think if you've got a YouTube channel, you're the expert. No, we're sharing the journey as we go, and
Yes.
we have to connect with other people as well to learn more. I'm loving Clubhouse so far, so if you haven't joined, you should. And if you're on it, then you should check out both of our rooms and learn more about that. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, this was fun. This is my first
Yes.
interview on YouTube. Yes.
Oh, okay. Making sure.
Am I okay? Okay,
Oh,
good.
that's
We're
all
all
that
good.
matters.